What's up, everyone? Coach Lucas here. Hope you all are doing well. Today, I want to share with you some insights that came from some conversations that I had yesterday with players and parents. And if you have a player that's looking to improve their confidence or their assertiveness or their consistency, I think these insights are going to be really valuable to you. So there was four key topics or key conversations that I had yesterday, and I want to break those four conversations down, talk about the key insights, and hopefully they'll be valuable for you and your player. So the first conversation that I had was with a 17-year-old player who was looking to become a professional. And this particular player, all these players that come to me struggle with either confidence or mental toughness or consistency, or just want career advice, development advice, how to train, how to develop the right way. And so this particular player, we're starting from the basics. We're starting from building the right mentality, building out what is necessary in order to play at the professional level or at the college level. And so under our philosophy, one of the key principles to success is what we call the vision, the long-term goal that aligns with your intuition, that you know you can accomplish, basically where you see yourself in 5, 10, 15 years' time. And so the conversation that we had was really interesting, and we talked about what it is that he wants to accomplish long-term. And what was surprising, most players that speak with me about this, they talk about playing in a World Cup or playing professionally or playing with Manchester United or getting subbed on in a college game. Whatever that moment is, whatever that vision is, it's usually soccer related. In this particular player, it was not soccer related. It had really nothing to do with soccer. And so his particular vision was to live in a calm, organized, peaceful environment. And the reason why I bring this up is because when we work with players to identify what it is that they want to accomplish long term, for whatever reason, their intuition starts to come up with ideas that are really crucial to them. And it's the same thing with you. Like, if you think about what it is that you want to accomplish long term, it could be success, it could be improvement with your family, it can be like this player, organization, peace. You start to see the key values that start to creep their way into this vision of what you want to accomplish long term. And so for this particular player, we talked about the purpose of the vision. And the purpose of the vision is not something where it's a goal and you're chasing it. It's something where you're mapping out what it is that you're yearning for, and you look to implement that into your daily routine. Okay, so for example, for this particular player, his goal is to live, in this house that is peaceful, sitting by the fire in this wooded environment. And we talked about the details of that and what that feels like and what type of person is necessary to live that type of life. And when you paint that picture, the purpose of the vision is to read the vision first thing in the morning, right? The purpose of the vision is to read it first thing in the morning, not to remind you on what to chase, not to remind you on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, but so that you could tap in to that character, into that state of mind in that moment, first thing in the morning. And so this is really, really critical for players. Why is this important for players? Well, when you can do this, it helps set the tone for the rest of the day. It helps you make the right decisions for the rest of the day. It puts you It anchors you into a starting point that's going to allow you to grow and develop the right way for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and the rest of the month if you continue to keep up with this particular habit. And so what we're doing, what a lot of players struggle with, is when they wake up first thing in the morning, they have the monkey mind. The mind is all over the place. And they're thinking about, what they didn't do, what they should do, their homework, soccer, what this person said, and there's really no control there. And a lot of players struggle with when the negativity starts to seep into those ranting thoughts. And so when we have this mechanism of hijacking that moment first thing in the morning, we regain control of what it is that we want to accomplish, what kind of character we want to have. And if everything's right, if it's aligned with your intuition, and if you're doing that every morning, you are embodying that character that is necessary in order to make the right decisions that are aligned to help your vision come into fruition or manifest itself. And so this may sound complicated or may sound complex, but it's a very simple exercise that players can do to help them embody the character that's necessary for them to achieve their goals. So I think that was important. That was an important conversation, and I really wanted to hit home this idea, this principle, this exercise, and share with you some of the topics and some of the discussions that I have with these players and what they look like. Obviously, they're very personal, and I wanted to share with you, and hopefully you found insight with that. So that was the first conversation from yesterday. The second conversation from yesterday was with a player and his mother who have been working with me for 3 or 4 years. This particular player just had a trial with Real Madrid, La Liga Select in Spain. And so what I want to share with you about this conversation is what's possible when you commit to a particular goal, just like we talked about with the vision, when you embody that and you carry that with you day in and day out for weeks, months, years at a time. And this particular player did just that. When he first came to me 3 or 4 years ago, he struggled with confidence and mental toughness. Now he's coming back from one of the most prestigious events or trials in youth soccer, and with some of the best scouts and coaches assessing him, he had perfect scores. He had perfect scores under his psychological assessment. And yes, they do assess your psyche at that level. And so for a player who struggles with confidence or mental toughness to now go and play and perform at the dream state, right? At that level that he aspires to play at, and get perfect scores in the areas that he was most struggling at just years prior, that's something to say, and that's big. And really what I want to share with you about that is the importance of correct training, the importance of not listening to the noise, blocking out all of this hype and this noise about this type of training or that type of training or what you need to be successful. At the end of the day, growth and development for a soccer player is very simple. It's very simple. I think we do a really good job of making it overly complicated, but when you break it down, it's very simple. And this particular player has done an excellent job in working with me over the last couple of years. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you is, what is the plan for him moving forward? Well, one of the things that we talked about was, what is he going to be doing this summer? And so a lot of the conversation was about strength, speed, and explosiveness training. And what came about through this dialogue, through the conversation, was that he would not be playing any soccer between the months of basically June, July, and going into August, and allocate all of his energy onto strength training. And so when you're playing at a high level, like this particular player is, you understand the game. Your technique is good if you're playing at this level. What most people don't realize is that you need a window of time in order to actually get stronger physically, because at the pro level, they basically play all year. They basically play, 10 months out of the 12 months. And those 2 months that they're not playing are pretty much like rest times. At that level, yes, you can play all year. As you're developing as a youth player, there needs to be growth cycles. And one of the things that we really don't get in youth soccer is taking breaks from the game and focusing more on just physical training. And I've had this conversation with many parents about this, and it's hard to break away from, because you finish maybe you finish the season in the spring, and then you have all of these summer activities going on, and there's never really a break for these players to grow and develop their strength and their speed and their explosiveness the right way. And so when we look at this properly, we're looking at training volume and training frequency. And so when you're in season, training frequency is very high. You're training all the time. You're playing all the time. What you want to do in these windows of opportunities, when you can, you want to decrease the frequency and hyper-focus, and allocate all of your energy on the strength training. Now, look, this is something that is probably more geared to older players, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. But really, the same thing still applies for the younger players as well. My point is, don't feel like you need to fill the calendar, right? If you want to get stronger, the solution to that is not to train more. It's to allocate the focus and the energy on the actual goal, which is strength training. And you can't strength train properly. Again, you can't strength train properly if you don't have the right mobility, if you don't have the right balance. If you're imbalanced, you're just going to make things worse. And so this was part of the topic that we talked about with this family, and I wanted to share with you what's on the agenda for them. For this high-level player, what's on the agenda for them? We're looking to help this player in this particular area, and I really wanted to hit home the fact that, like, if you have the window of opportunity and your goal is to get stronger and faster, it's okay to significantly decrease the training frequency and allocate that energy to strictly strength training. Your player will not lose their touch. They'll get it back. Don't you worry. So this is the type of thinking that goes on at the higher level. Okay. Next, I want to talk to you about a conversation which you had with a younger player. And so this player was 10 years old. And I was talking with his mother about the same type of training protocol, which is this high level of peak performance training where we're looking at nutrition, sleep, mobility, assessing those types of things, and structuring a training plan that's specific to peaking the player's particular performance. And for this 10-year-old, we had decided that this was not a good idea to pursue this. And I'll tell you why. For some 10-year-olds, this might be fine. But for most 10-year-olds, it's okay to make the focus for these younger players to just have fun and have a social life. Studies show that players that are 13 and younger play soccer for two reasons: to have fun and for social reasons, to have friends. So to have fun and to have friends. And for a lot of these players, they don't need a very complex training plan to be a quality player. What's really important for these younger players is experiences. Experiencing new teams, experiencing new coaches, experiencing tournaments, experiencing different things that will help build their character and help expose them to the different styles of play and different expectations. all those types of things that are involved with development as a youth player. So my point with that is, if you have a younger player, you don't need to go crazy, and you can focus on having fun and new experiences. And the final conversation that I had yesterday was with a player. His name was Lucas, and this particular player has been struggling quite a bit with his coaches, with his teammates. He recently was cut from a team and placed on a lower tier team, and for the last several months he's been struggling with this. And so the conversation went like this. The expectations or the dialogue amongst the club was that this particular team was not very good, and if you're on this team, you probably suck. And what happened was he was cut from the team. That was the dialogue amongst the club, but when he was cut from the team, then he was put on this team, and so he had felt that now this was his identity, basically. And to a certain degree, it wasn't. He expressed that he really didn't feel like this environment was good for him. For example, he was very serious about being a quality player and pursuing his goals of playing professionally. But, the other kids on this particular team showed up to practice and weren't motivated or interested in having quality practices. And this happens. This happens with a lot of clubs. This happens with a lot of teams. And the insight here that I think might be important for you is about environments. And so if your player is playing on a team and they are not, it's not a healthy environment, or it's not a supportive environment, what's important for the player in these situations is to have their own agenda. They need to establish their own agenda of what it is that they want to accomplish that particular season, which helps disassociate them from that particular environment and gets them to start looking at the environment as a building block or as a stepping stone to get to where they want to go. And so what happens is this shifts from I don't want to go to practice because it's not fun to I want to go to practice because I have this agenda and I'm going to use this adversity and this challenge as a practice or an exercise or a challenge to overcome and to improve myself. And when you can make that shift, when you can make that change as a player, that's a massive deal when you're dealing with a really cruddy environment. The other part that's really important about this, when players are feeling like they're a victim of their environment and it's not supportive and it's toxic, when it comes to overcoming this, it's very important to understand that this pursuit, this process, this journey of overcoming this type of thing is actually incredibly beneficial for the player long term. Why? Because when they can overcome this particular negative environment, they're learning how to build the right perspectives and the right frame of thinking that basically builds a new way of thinking about these types of challenges when they come. And so it's like they build a new gear. It's like they build a new engine, a new gear that they can carry with them, a new tool or a strategy that they can carry with them that serves them again and again and again down the line. Because if you look at it, if you look at the college teams, if you look at pro teams, those teams have new environments all the time. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good. Coaches change, teammates change, and you have to learn how to overcome environments that you're in. You have to learn how to adapt to that and to handle that type of adversity, blocking out the noise and learning how to adapt. And so that was the insight from this particular player. And so, I wanted to share those things with you. And so the big thing is vision, having that as a principle, embodying that character every day 2, carrying that with you long term, focusing on that type of development, simplicity, which will allow you to take your game to the top. 3, if you're a younger player, just have fun. Focus on good quality experiences. And 4, if you find yourself in a cruddy environment, have your own agenda so you can overcome and build that tool that's going to serve you long term. That's it for today. I hope you found some value in this video, and we'll see you guys next time. Let me know, send me an email, or let me know in the comments if you guys found value in this, and also if you have other topics that you'd like to hear about. So hope you found value in this. We'll take care. See you soon.